again, folks, and welcome to another helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You join me today on this fine sunny day, out and about in the old jalopy. I haven't done this with you for a while, have I, where I've gone out for a little bit of a drive round and just pulled up somewhere and had a little natter with you. Well, today is lovely and sunny out there, and I thought, what the hell, I'm getting out and about and going to get a little bit of fresh air. So I've pulled up at my favourite little outdoor studio, which is Hunters Hill in Rattington in Lancashire. And we're going to have a little chat today about politics. Now, I don't normally cover this subject on Mr H's Hot Pot, purely because there's no right or wrong answer to the subject of politics. It's like religion, it's just, well, you know, there's no right or wrong answer to it. You have your beliefs and that's it. But as today is polling day at local level here in the UK, as it's Thursday, May the 3rd, 2018, I thought it would be rude not to cover the subject of politics. Now, I'll be honest with you, this time has been very difficult for me. Traditionally, I've always gone out and voted in every election that I've been able to vote in, you know, that I've been eligible for. Since turning 18, I'm now 44 years of age. And the only one I've not voted in was the referendum for the Mayor of Greater Manchester. That was a number of years back. And I didn't vote in that for two reasons. Mainly on principle. When I was born in 1974, Wigan, which is my hometown, was under Lancashire. It was in that county. And that particular year, about a month after I was born, they decided that they was going to form Greater Manchester and move the boundaries. So they created Greater Manchester, and Wigan was no longer under Lancashire. But as you can tell with my accent and that, I talk like a Lancastrian. I was born a Lancastrian. So as far as I'm concerned, I bloody well still am a Lancasterian. So I won't go out and recognise Greater Manchester. I don't put it on my address or anything like that. I still put Lancashire. Childish, but necessary. So that was the main reason I wouldn't go out and vote in that particular referendum. Also, I didn't think Greater Manchester needed a mayor, another level of bureaucracy. It's just more money that's being creamed off taxpayer, and I feel there's no point for it. Sorry, Andy Burnham, I'm sure you're doing a lovely job, but I think your position could be done away with and we could make a saving there straight away. Anyway, enough of the ranting of the Mayor of Greater Manchester. So, back to today, going out and voting. I went out and voted about 9:15 this morning. And for the first time, pardon me, for the first time, I was really stuck of who to vote for. Because I've had my interest in politics worn away. I used to be very interested in it. I've had some right humdingers of arguments with my dad down the years because my dad was traditionally, he wasn't interested in politics. And I used to always say to him, you know, it's shocking, you know, why you're not interested, Dad. People have fought and died, etc., etc., so you can go out and vote. And all I used to get from him in a bit of a step-toe type way was, nah, there's no point voting. You know, they're all the same, there's not one mend another. And I used to think such cynicism from him. And I finally got it out of him what the reason was. And apparently back in 1975, the country voted on whether to remain a member of the then EEC. And my dad went out and he wanted to leave. He felt as if it was a bad move for the country, they should never have gone in it. And ever since that vote, he'd lost interest in it, because at the time he claimed you couldn't find anybody who wanted to stay in it. And they stayed in it, so he felt it was a fix. Now, looking back, really, he never ventured out of Wigan, his hometown, so it was an echo chamber. He was talking to people that felt the same way as him, type of thing. Now, the same thing I found has happened to me. You know, we had the referendum in 2016. I voted to leave the EU because that's what I believed in. It was nothing to do with my father's beliefs. But the way that they've dragged their feet over this has just made me think, yeah, you know, you're a bunch of shitbags. I'm sorry to swear. Again, I try not to swear on these videos, but that's the only way of describing them. Excuse me once again. Not doing very well on this video, am I? And like I said, that's just sort of worn me away. I believe all the main parties, there's not one, as my dad said, there's not one to mend another. They're all the same. I mean, maybe I'm looking at this through naivety of youth. You know, when I was a kid, it seemed that your choices was pretty simple. If you went out and worked for someone and you got a pay packet from them, then you went out and voted Labour. If you was lucky enough to be giving someone a pay packet and had somebody working for you, you voted Conservative. If you wanted to protest against the party you would normally vote against, you would go out and you would vote Liberal. Or if you wanted to waste your vote, you'd go out and vote Liberal. Then came along Tony Blair with New Labour. Excuse me once again. Dying on my feet here. And that was it. You know, the waters became muddied, and it's never been the same since, has it really? They just seem to be clones of one another. So what I did this morning, I went out and with an heavy heart, I voted none. In effect, I spoilt my ballot paper. Now, some people will say, well, what was the point of going out and doing that, Mr H? Well, if you stay away from the polling station and you vote, you know, you don't bother going out and voting, nobody knows why you've done it. You know, they just think, oh, well, maybe they could have been in hospital, they could have been on holiday, you know, they could have forgot. But if you go out and you spoil the ballot paper and you just write, like I did, the word none, and cross out where you would normally put your little cross, you know, you just put a line through the lot of them, what you're as good as saying to them is, yes, I am prepared to go out and vote, yes, I am interested in politics, however, I don't agree with the choice that you've given me. Now, something else I've realised, because I've had this quandary of who to vote for, is we don't have true democracy in the UK. Yes, we can vote for whatever's on offer, but we have no way of saying, I don't want any of it. You can't reject them. Now, in some states in America, and I believe some countries in Europe, have a none of the above section where you can go, and if you don't agree with any of the candidates they've put forward, you can vote none of the above. Obviously, that raises the question of, well, what happens if none of the above actually wins that seat? Well, you can't have a seat running itself with nobody at the helm. There has to be another election. But the candidates who put in for the original election that have been rejected cannot stand. So I believe that that way gives people the true democracy, because you can, in effect, reject all candidates and deselect them, you know, if you believe that they're no good. Because what happens here is, you know, Labour or Conservatives, they get a safe seat and they bang an unknown in. You know, some little yes man or woman that they think, yeah, this is one of our rising stars who toes party line. They put them in a safe seat. So they go in for Colonel Bagshot's Conservative seat, for example, where he's been in since 1922 and passed away. And they know that people will go out and they'll vote Conservative. Doesn't matter who it is, all they see is the rosette. Well, if we had that way of getting rid of people, we could get rid of idiots, couldn't we? We could say we'll get rid of them by voting none of the above. Now, some people say, well, why don't you tactically vote, Mr H? You know, vote for somebody else and tactically vote so the people you don't want get in won't get in. The problem with that is, what's the point of voting for somebody as you don't truly believe in or follow? You know, you're just voting for them because they're the lesser two evils. You get some people who'll come on here and say, you've wasted your vote doing what you've done, Mr H. But what I'd say to them people is, if I vote for somebody I don't truly believe in and trust, I've wasted my vote anyway. If I stay at home, I've wasted my vote anyway. I've not been rude or anything by writing none on the ballot slip. I've simply said, I'm rejecting it. So, there we have it. That's what I've done this time. Now, this video will probably land about 1 o'clock. I'm not trying to tell people to go out and vote none. You know, if you've got a candidate that you believe in and trust will look after, you know, your best interests, by all means, go out and support them. Unfortunately, I don't feel I've been able to do that this time, and that's why I've voted the way I have. So, for anybody out there who has gone out and voted today, and they've voted for a particular candidate, all I will say is, should your candidate get elected, then I hope that they live up to your expectations. And that's it really, folks. That's just a little bit of a chat about the lack of choice and the poor democracy that we have in this country. As I say, being able to vote for what's on choice only is no choice really. That's like me saying to you, I'm going to cut off one of your legs. Which one do you want me to cut off, your left or your right? And then when I've cut it off afterwards saying, well, I gave you the choice, didn't I? You know, it's not a choice really, is it? You know, to have neither leg cut off's really the preferable choice. But there we go. Just a bit of a chat, like I said, about politics. Like I said, I don't cover this subject much here in Mr H's Hot Pot, mainly because it's a bloody boring subject and there's no right or wrong answer. So, until the next time, when I'm out and about, hopefully looking at a nice little bit of architecture or history, it is bye-bye for now.